In 2020, sometime in September, my husband was diagnosed suddenly with pancreatic cancer. It was a very traumatic time for myself and my children, and he was largely in pain. We couldn't understand how this could be, and we spent all of the Christmas of that season and the next year in the hospitals. It was a lot of change for us, change of diet, change of schedules. I had to stay in the hospital with him. I never slept. I'm somebody who cannot eat in the hospital, and in the morning, one of my children will come and watch him while I go to work. After work, I come back to the hospital. This became our life and our routine. We stopped cooking in the house. Everything revolved around his care. I used to bathe him, brush him, clean him up, and all sorts. And we thought we were doing great because he never had blood transfusions or all of that. And suddenly, on the 2nd of February 2021, in the early hours of the 3rd, he passed on, and it was just I and him. Amazingly, as soon as my husband passed on, it became all sorts of allegations, all sorts of tales were coming from where I didn't know. The real support and strength I got at that time, funnily, came from total strangers who were a team of doctors and pathologists and nurses. They could see what I was going through. They were the ones that was telling me to take care of my health. They were the ones that were particularly concerned. But family at this time were more particular about property, about documents, about it was a weird time for me. I was looking at myself out of my skin. We have 6 children, and it was a lot of things for me. But what really got me, my violation story in all of this, was that cousins and friends of my husband came together, floated a platform ostensibly to help raise money. They didn't tell me, I didn't know. People just feel they can walk all over you. And somebody will come and ask me that they want the keys to my home, and my refusal meant that I was a bad woman, I was too autocratic or something. But I knew that I had to, at this time, somehow hold my own, be strong for myself and my children. It got to a stage that people were making arrangements for my husband's funeral without consulting me. One of the hardest things for me was that somebody from Lagos called me and said they've started circulating my husband's poster. From then on, it became a war when I refused to be part of publications that I hitherto had not signed, be part of platforms that I did not sign onto, because I felt it was an insult to my family. Because mourning like birthing for me were very private experiences, and who had gone through a lot as at this time. But people, the insensitivity, the norms I was hearing, without anybody caring how these 6 children ate, fed, or drank, to the extent that they went ahead, even when I said I don't want to be involved in that, they went ahead to write to people. Some I could contact, some I couldn't, and they floated this platform. The long and short of it all is that eventually, I hear whether they raised up to 5 million or 3.5 million. I'm not sure which, but that's what I heard. and they made announcements. I wonder how many widows or women have had to live through this. They made an announcement that they are raising an educational fund for my children, and they were going to channel those funds raised to that purpose. As at today, we have not seen 1 naira. We have not bothered to ask because I don't feel it's not part of something I would want for my husband or my husband will want for himself. But the pain for me there is the deceit, the lies. February 3rd is 2 years. By April 9th, it will be 2 years my husband was committed to Mother Earth. We haven't heard anything from this person. Thank God I've always been at work. I've always picked my bills and that of my children, and we survive. But most importantly, for me, it's I work in a space where I often hear women's trials and tribulation. I tend to think what a woman who doesn't have my skill, who doesn't have my support system, what she would be going through in my position. And that kind of breaks me. If somebody could look at me and think you draw the wool on my eye, I wonder what over my eyes, I wonder what other women go through. So this is my She-Ild story, what widows often have to live through when they lose their husbands.